Hi guys, so I have a story time. This is about the time I worked in a particular job when my manager was just, in my words, being a menace. So I worked at this job, this was, I think 2018, and it was like a pop culture media house, media space. And the boss, like the CEO or the boss, I don't know if he was the CEO, but the boss, he basically like scouted me because he's a talent scout or talent manager. And I worked for this particular media house, and I won't mention the name because it was quite popular at the time amongst like the youth. But my manager, so one of the reasons why I left, let's just jump to why I left and I'll give you the reasons, is because, well, one, I was hardly being paid anything. I think I was there for like maybe 3 months and I got paid once or maybe twice. I'm not quite sure, but the pay was absolutely terrible. Could barely manage on that type of salary. And then the manager was very, very, very rude. He would basically like try to refer to some examples and bringing like sex, or try to direct the comment towards me, and he will use profanity, profane words. And then one day I told him, I said, don't talk to me like that, like please don't talk to me like that. And he didn't like it. He didn't like it because I stood up to him. It wasn't me challenging my manager, it was the fact that that was extremely inappropriate, and you shouldn't be making sexual references to any of your employees. I know in our culture in Ghana, we're very relaxed with it, but it's inappropriate regardless. That's how sexual harassment and all these things happen. So he wasn't sexually harassing me, but he was using, he was referencing things and bringing sex into it and directing it towards me, and that's a no-no. So there was a time when we were all crammed into this one tiny room. There was like a lot of us, and we were writers, online writers, and I was also one of their digital presenters. And so we were all crammed in this room, and like even when I wanted to get up and like take a break or maybe go to the washroom, he'd be like, where are you going? Like it was just weird. So I was just completely over it. And I decided to resign because his attitude was horrible. And he had, there was some breaking story that we had to put out there online. And he started speaking Twi, knowing that I didn't understand what he was saying. And I said, can you speak in English? So that it wasn't a Twi speaking station, a Twi speaking media house, it was English. I said, can you speak English so I can understand? Because it was for the whole team to understand his directive. And he said, no, I don't want you to hear, or I don't want you to know some things or something. He was just being a menace, and that was completely out of line because one of my colleagues is Nigerian, was Nigerian, is, but when I say was, because we both don't work at that place anymore. He was Nigerian. So how was he even supposed to understand? So he was just being a complete menace. And I was like, I don't need to take this, because that starts to become abusive. Somebody swearing at you, making sexual references, marginalizing you, trying to exclude you from teamwork or whatever be the case where you need to be included. So I put in my resignation letter, and I told the CEO, and he was a little bit apologetic. He believed, well, it was his fault. He should have kept an eye on me, because he was the one that brought me in, because I was on a radio station, one of the most popular radio stations in Ghana, and I was there a few months in, and I got a phone call from him and that he wanted me to come and work with him. So I really thought it was a good opportunity. But I'm coming on here to say that this behavior is unacceptable, and in the culture that I live in, it's very normalized for women and men to be sexualized, to be harassed, to be spoken to in a derogatory manner. It is not acceptable. Just because you may have grown up in that situation, it is not an international standard. That's not how things are done in the West. And I'm a Western woman. I'm a Ghanaian Western woman. So I still uphold how I've been brought up in the Western world. I just transfer it here to Ghana. I adapt, I adjust, but there's no way you're going to abuse me, disrespect me, things of that nature. I mean, abuse happens all over the world, but I'm just saying, from a cultural aspect, a lot of people in the country that I live in now bring their personal practices, their home practices into the professional space. And I learned very quickly that it's very difficult for diasporans to work in corporate Ghana. And I learned a lot of lessons, and now I understand why. But that didn't deter me. In fact, it's even motivated me. I work with youth, I mentor youth here in Ghana. I love it. I love seeing the youth pursue their dreams. I like listening to them talk, you know. They need a healthy outlet. So going through those things, and this is just one story of many, but going through those things has just made me more resilient to further myself in the space that I find myself in. So it's just a quick story time. I hope that you guys followed. So moral of the story is that if you're being harassed, sexually harassed, abused by what we would call in Ghana a superior, basically management, your boss, you have to report it. You have to report it. Nowhere in your contract or in law or in any constitution in Ghana does it say that you are subjected to mental, physical, and emotional abuse. Now, I know a lot of us don't talk about it, but so many people are going through this. Women and men are leaving their jobs. They're being harassed, they're being sexually harassed, or they're being abused. And it's difficult for the men to talk about it because the men get laughed at and they get ridiculed, which they shouldn't. But it's just unfortunate. The culture laughs at men who are being sexually harassed. It's not funny. It's never funny, and it will never be funny. So I'm just coming on here to encourage you guys. If you have experienced something like this, speak up. Report it. Go to somebody that you trust. You are not obligated to be abused by anybody. All right. Take care.